إنا أنزلنا إليك الكتاب بالحق لتحكم بين الناس بما أراك الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala habibina Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Quran is the greatest document of at-Tawheed ever to exist. At-Tawheed meaning the oneness of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over and over in the Quran clarifies to humanity and makes it extremely evident that He is only one and He is unique and nothing is like Allah. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. There is absolutely nothing like Allah, and He is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. Now, given that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes uses the plural pronoun when talking about Himself, and sometimes He doesn't. Now, the question arises, why? Well, this goes back to the context. When Allah is talking about something that requires the focus to be at Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, He makes it clear that He is only one. And sometimes when He says something like, Anzalna, we have sent down, this is a place of ta'zim, showing the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So sometimes the context emphasizes or highlights this, and sometimes that. In Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Innani ana Allahu la ilaha illa ana fa'budani wa aqim as-salata li dhikri. Allah says, indeed I am Allah. There is none worthy of worship except me. So worship me alone and establish the prayer for my remembrance. This is a place of, which is called Maqam al-Tawheed. This is a place of Tawheed where Allah is emphasizing and highlighting His oneness. So He is crystal clear about Him being one. Allahu Akbar. And sometimes in other ayats or other surahs, Allah says, for example, Surah Al-Qadr, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Indeed, we have sent down this Quran on Laylatul Qadr, the best of nights, better than 1,000 months. Allahu Akbar. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have sent down, even though it is Allah alone that sent down the Quran, but it's a place of ta'zim, greatness. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to Himself using the majestic plural. But something is amazing. It's a qa'idah in the Quran, a rule that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Himself using the royal we or the majestic plural, after mentioning it or before mentioning it, He focuses on at-Tawheed, His oneness. So let's look at an example. When we have one in Surah Al-Qadr, Allah says, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. This is the point right here. Allah started the surah by saying, we have sent down, and after, in this very surah, Allah says, بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ, by the permission of their Lord. Allahu Akbar. So whenever we see in the Quran or read in the Quran where Allah says, we have sent down, or we have done this, or we have decreed such and such, just soon after, you will see Allah referring to Himself in the singular form, or prior to that. Subhanallah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.